What is going on, guys? This is Mr. Ryan's tutoring here, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to fractions, decimals, and percentages. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So our first question says, right, 1/4 as a percentage. So 1/4 is actually the same as 25%. So I'm going to draw 25 right here. Actually, let me just change the colour of my pen, because orange is definitely not the one. Put it to black. Put the thickness right down to 1. Okay. Write down 0.23 as a percentage. This is a nice easy one. We just look at the 23 here, and that will make it 23%. Question C. Write 42% as a fraction. So when it asks you questions like this, what I always like to do is I always write out of 100. So I'll just do 42 out of 100, and it says to simplify it. Well, both of these numbers are in the 2 times table, so I can simplify the first one to 21 and the other one to 50. And I think that's it, because you can't divide them by the same amount anymore. So the answer will be 21 over 50. Next question, right, 0.15 as a percentage. Again, you just go all the way along to the 15. Forget about the 0 and just write that as 15%. And then write 35% as a fraction, give your answer in its simplest form. Again, I'm just going to write out of 100 first of all, 35 out of 100. And both of these are in the 5 times table, so we can actually divide both of these by 5. 35 goes into 5 7 times, and then we've got 100, which is actually 20. And then both of these numbers don't have the set. You can't divide 7 and 20 by anything else, so we're going to stick it as 7 out of 20. Okay, question 3. Work out 50% of 60. So 50% is just half in it. So half of 60 is 30. So our answer will be 30. Work out 25% of 20 meters. So 25% is a quarter. So the way to work out 25% is, first of all, we have to half 20. So 20 divided by 2 equals 10. And then we halve that again, so divide that by 2, and that gives us the answer of 5. Question 4a. Write 9/10 as a decimal. So this is just a very simple way of this. So that will be 0.9. So if it was 6/10, it'd be 0.6, etc. Right, 3/4 as a percentage. So 3/4 as a percentage is 75. Right, 23% as a fraction. When it asks you questions like this, don't overthink it. Do not overthink it. People do this all the time. But when you're writing the fraction of numbers like this, if it was like 25, it'd be different. But if it's like 23, 42, you just write out of 100. So you just do 23 out of 100 like that. So it'll be up here. Okay, work out 1/5 of 50. So for fractions like this, you just simply divide this number by the denominator, which is the 5. So 50 divided by 5 is 10. So that'll be that. Okie dokie. Question 5. Write down 1/5 as a percentage. So what I like to do with things like this is just double check. I always go to 100 and then I divide it by the denominator of the fraction. So you could do 100 divided by 5, which equals 20. And then that will be our percentage. Okay. B, right, 0.7 as a percentage. So nice and simple. So I think think of it as 0 to 1, and then 0 is 0% and 1 is 100%, and 0.7 is about 70% there. So therefore it'll be 70%. Okay. Question 6, right, 1/4 as a percentage. 1/4 is 25%. Right, 0.8 is a percentage. So let's look at the 8 here. So for this one, you've got to be careful, because 0.8 is the same as 0.80. So therefore that would be 80%. Right, 76% as a decimal. Well, all you have to do for this one is put a 0, then you put a dot, 7, 6. So whoever asks you that, whether it's 76, 23, it'd be 0, followed by the number in the percentage. C, right, 45% as a fraction. Again, I'm going to do out of 100 first of all. So 45 out of 100. Both of these numbers are in the 5 times table, so we can simplify them. So we can do 45 divided by 5, which is 9. And then 100 divided by 5, which is 20. 9 out of 20. So therefore, 9 out of 20 is my answer. Okay, right, 85, 0.85 is a percentage. Looking at the 85, underline it, so it is 85%. 1/10 as a percentage, so I just do 100 divided by 10 for this one. So you just divide 100 by 10, and that gets you 10. So 1/10 is 10. 60% as a decimal. So you can either write this as 0.60 or 0.6. I'm going to pick 0.6 because that's probably the better answer anyway. Okay, right, 0.37 as a percentage, nice and simple one really, just look at the 37 here, and then you just write your 37 in the box. Right, 1/4 as a percentage, we already know that is 25. And then, right, 19% as a fraction. For this one, we can just do it out of 100, because I know for a fact that 19 is not in the same times table as 100, so it'd be 19 out of 100. Give 40%, give that 40 as a fraction of 140. Give your answer in its simplest form. So first of all, I'm just going to do it as exactly what it says, which is the 40 out of 140. Okay, simplified, we can divide both of these by 10, so you can actually write 4 out of 14. And they're both in the 2 times table as well, so we could divide these by 2, so that can become 2, and this can become 7, so 2 out of 7 would be our answer. Right, 45, 0.45 as a percentage, you know the drill looking at this number here, so it'd be 45. 3/4 as a percentage is something you've got to know is 75. Right, 30% as a fraction in its simplest form, so I'm going to do 30 out of 100, which I can then divide by 10, so that'll be 3 over 10, and that'll be our answer. Next question, right, 1/10, so we've got to do 2 things here. So we've got to write it as both a decimal and a percentage. So as a decimal, it would be 0.1, and as a percentage, it would be 10%. Now, I'm not too sure why it's got centimetres at the end of it, but I'm going to put the percentage symbol in for them because I'm nice. Actually, I don't need the percentage symbol for the other one, just for the second one. But yeah. Right, 1/5 as a percentage. Best way to do this is we just do 100 divided by 5, and that equals 20. Write down 0.64 as a percentage. We just look at the 64 here. That just means 64%. 70% as a decimal is just 0.7 or 0.70. Question 12, right, 0.38 as a percentage. So we just look at the 38 here, ignore the 0, and just means it's going to be 38. Right, 3/10 as a percentage. Well, 3 out of 10, 3/10 as a percentage is simply, well, it's just 30%. Not really much else you can do for that. Anyway, next one, shade 3/4 of this shape. So first of all, we need to look at how many boxes there are. So there's 8 boxes. Okay, and we need to find a quarter first. Forget about the 3. So to find a quarter, we just half in half it again. So half of 8 equals 4. Half of 4 equals 2. So that's 1/4. So I'm just going to write that out. 1/4 equals 2. Oops, that was a shocking 2. And then to get 3/4, we just times that by 3. And that equals 6. So we can shade 6 squares. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, shade 0.25 this shape. That's just 0.25 is another way of saying a quarter of 25%. So quarter of 8 is 2. So we should shade the 2. Change 0.3 into a fraction. So 0.3 as a percentage, first of all, is 30%. 30% as a fraction is 3 out of 10. Change 0.7 into a percentage. So if we put a 0 at the end of the 7, because you have to for these anyway, it becomes 70. So therefore, it'd be 70%. Then last but not least for this question, work out 3/4 of 36. So 3/4 of 36, again, is another bit more complex one. So I'm just going to do half of it first of all, half of 36. And then I'm going to half it again afterwards. So if you work out half of 36, that actually becomes 18. Then divide that by 2 gets us 9. And then we're going to times that by 3 for the 3/4. So 9 times 3 is 27. Write down 92% as a decimal. This is a nice easy one. So you just, all decimals always start as a 0 for these. And then you put there, and then you just write the number that you've been given afterwards. So we write 0.92. Write down 3% as a fraction. This is a tricky one, this, because some people write 0.3, but it's not. It's actually 0.03. Work out 5% of 400 grams. So this is a little bit of a tricky one, but it's not too bad actually. So what you can do actually for this one is I always like to work out 10% first. So 10% of 400 is 40. And then because 10%, then what we can do is we can actually half it to work out the 5%, because 40 divided by 2, and that equals 20. So 20 grams is the answer. Then we've got Nassim buys petrol from his local garage. On Monday, he filled up his tank. On Tuesday, his tank was 3/4 full. What fraction of the full tank of petrol had he used? So 3/4 of it were full, and 1 is missing. So therefore, that becomes 1/4. Write down 3/4 as a decimal. We already know that as 0.75. And 3/4 as a percentage is 75%. Okay, and our last question here says a newspaper reporter did a survey. He asked people what was their favourite leisure activity. The table gives some information about the answers he got. So we've got home improvements 22%, shopping 14%, and gardening 9%, and all others is blank. Complete the table. So first of all percentages always add up to 100. So we need to add up all these first. So 22 plus 14 first of all, which gives us an answer of 36. And 36 plus 9 equals 45. And then if you do 100, take away 45, you will get an answer of 55. So the answer is 55. Okay, right, 9% is a decimal. So just like so anything below 10%, it's always going to have 2 zeros. It's going to have 0 and then a 0 again, and then you add the 9 there. And then last but not least, for our final question, how many people said their favourite leisure activity was gardening? So it says 400 people asked in the survey. So what we need to do is we need to work out 9% of 400. So what I always do for this one is I always do 10% first. So we do 400 divided by 10, which equals 40. And then actually work out 1% next. So 1% next by dividing my answer by 10 again, which gets us 4. And then because it's 9%, I times this value by 9. So I do 4 times 9, and that gives us an answer of 36. So 36 will be our answer. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you managed to learn something. I hope my writing wasn't too terrible. Tried my best with this wonky pen. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace out.